All right, what's up, man? It's your boy Zone 6 coming at you with another video, live in HD, of course. I'm gonna go ahead and get in and get out the way for a brief moment just to talk about some sports. Um, the main topic of conversation is going to be about Deion Sanders within the realm of sports, right? So we're gonna start it off. The question has been via Shannon Sharp and Samuel, right? Two great NFL players in their regard. Shannon Sharp, tight end. Everybody know what he does. Podcast, uh, ESPN is four spot, FS1 commentator. We already know what Shannon Sharp does and who he is, and we know what Samuel does and who he's been. Two-time, Super Bowl winning cornerback, notable time and stint with the New England Patriots, and over there as well with the Eagles. So when it comes down to sports, we got to think about a couple of things. And this pertains to boxing. This pertains to basketball. This pertains to just giving our opinion about these sports and what our positions are. And as usual, I'm giving you my opinion and my position on how I break things down and how I come to the understanding that I have. So there's a couple of ways we can look at this when it comes down to Deion Sanders. All right. And if you got your position, please speak it in the chat, comment on it in the chat. Do you think Deion Sanders is the greatest cornerback of all time? And do you think that it is inherently true that it's a foregone conclusion that this guy is not going to be caught at cornerback ever? Now, to start off, I'm gonna say this, man. I don't think that Deion Sanders will forever be the greatest cornerback of all time. I definitely believe there's some potential for people to catch up to him as the game progresses. That's just what I think. I also think there are some people that can contest him that played alongside him or within his realm of football, right? You got Green out there. You got Rod Woodson, who ultimately ended up moving to safety. You got Champ Bailey. You got Rod Woodson. You got your Samuel. You got a lot of guys. You got Harris. You got Patrick Surtain, Sam Madison. So you got a lot of guys out there that you could research and you could look up and find out, hey, which cornerback is the best cornerback for you, and how you divvy that out mentally is totally up to you. So for me, when I look at it, before I come to my conclusion, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at, okay, Deion Sanders, what is his personality and what is his outside contributions to the game? What is his outside contributions to the game of football, his field of craft, his field of study? This is Deion Sanders, okay? Now, the first thing I look at is the cultural impact that an athlete has on a particular skill set or a particular team or a particular institution. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Deion changed the culture. He became known as the lockdown cornerback. You could put him on one side of the field and it was locked down and you was safe, you was sound, you was good, right? Also, the Deion Sanders shoes was historic, so forth and so on. We know what he does: the dance, prime time, the name, lockdown, big contract, the confidence in his character to play cornerback and have an impact on the game, when historically we know that was reserved for running backs, linebackers, some safeties at the time. But for Deion Sanders to do it from the cornerback position, then that was just awesome. You know what I'm saying? It was coming from a great position. So when it comes down to his character, his cachet, right, and who he is, Deion Sanders checked the block for that. Okay, he checks the blocks for that all day, every day. Okay, his contributions for the culture of the game and his impact on the game of football. All right. Now, the next thing I do is I move on from the impact, the cultural impact, I look at the numbers. Okay, so what's going on with the numbers? Deion Sanders has the numbers. Shut down cornerback. He got over 50-something interceptions. He got over 700-something tackles. You know what I'm saying? He got some touchdowns for return, about, I think, like 9 or something like that. So The crazy part about Deion is that, and I do understand that the stats don't tell the whole story, but here's some stats that people do got to consider. These guys are saying that Deion was a lockdown, but you got to understand, Deion only had about 1,100 targets in his career. You know what I'm saying? That means he only got targeted 1,100 times throughout his career. Okay? And he only gave up like 7,800 yards in his career. So on average, Deion Sanders was only getting thrown to his side per game about 5 times. So you got to think about it. If you're the number one receiver and this guy is standing across from you, and for some reason your team, because of Deion, is only going to choose to throw the ball to you about 5 times, and you're the number one, and he's holding people down to about an average of 50 yards per game, that's a lockdown cornerback. That's going beyond the numbers. That's going beyond the stats that you just see on ESPN, which is how many games are played, you know, how many picks he got, how many pass deflections he got, how many touchdowns he got. It's beyond that, right? You got to think about how many times this guy was targeted, how many yards did he give up, touchdowns, and so forth and so on against these number one receivers, because he's the number one cornerback. So his primary responsibility is to hold these guys down on this side of the field. And if you're only getting 5 targets as the receiver, that speaks volume to Deion Sanders, okay? And you're only getting about 50 yards per game. So that means even if you see him once and you get 100 yards, that means the next game you play against him, which usually you can play a person twice and see him twice a year if you're in the same division. We all know that from football. Okay, that means the next game, Deion is guaranteed to probably hold you down to 0. That's just what it is. So Deion is probably going to lock you down to 0 based on his numbers. You're only getting 50 yards per game, you know what I'm saying, on average. And he's only getting on, and you only got to get that off 5 targets. So the thing is does Deion check the block for as being a cultural impact on the game of football? The question is absolutely so. Okay. Well, let's look at the numbers. When you look at the numbers, you're not getting too much done against Deion if you're a number one receiver on average. Okay, that doesn't mean like, you know, Jerry Rice is an exception to the rule. Not saying that you can't get a home run on Deion. You can't, you know, tear him up or eat him off the bone. That's not what I'm saying. But on average, Deion is guaranteeing you, you know, to lock down his side of the fields per the numbers. Okay, he's not giving up too much. He's a very stingy cornerback, and they're just historically proven. The next thing I look at besides the cultural impact and then your actual numbers and go deeper with the numbers is I look at your artifacts, your accolades. Did his cultural impact, did his stats and his numbers net the ultimate goal in the institution of the sport? And what is that? Okay, obviously he's in the Hall of Fame, so we can check that off. Pro Bowl selections, okay? Super Bowls, 3 of them, 3 different teams. Okay, so Deion check all the marks. Okay, so is there a good argument for him to be the greatest cornerback of all time? Absolutely so. Is Samuel, or does Samuel in the right mind, and does he have a point? Should he bring up the question, should we contest Deion's position in history? Yeah, probably so, because there are some other cornerbacks that you could consider that you should look at out there when you doing your thing and building your team and coming from your perspective. But if I was to start a team and I'm coming from a GM position and I own Team X, okay, and you told me that I can draft a Deion Sanders as my cornerback, I would do that. Because the culture impact, he's going to sell tickets. This is from a GM perspective now, an owner's perspective. Going to sell tickets, okay? He's going to put seats. He's going to fill the seats. He's going to put butts in seats. He's going to give you the numbers, so he's going to give you the production, and he's going to guarantee you a side of the field locked down, which is great for your coaches, which means that your coaches can just plug and play. So Deion makes the coaches' job a lot easier. Okay, so that's something that's rare. Then you got to understand this: Deion also was a monster on special teams. Okay, so on top of being a cornerback, this guy was able to return punts, and kick returns for touchdowns, which greatly enhanced your special teams. Now, I know some guys want to say, hey, you know what, let's take that out. I don't want to add the special team contributions. We're talking about purely cornerback. Okay, when you do that, that let me know from my position that Deion is that guy. Okay, because if you got to caveat something and start pulling away from the contributions of a football player or athlete in their respective field, and we got to take away their collateral duties and their extracurricular activities to enhance their odds of being great, then that let me know that Deion Sanders probably is that guy. He's probably better than most of the cornerbacks that are around in a overall or overarching theme type of way. You're not going to not draft Deion Sanders if you're owner of a franchise, knowing what we know, and that's having hindsight is 2020. So there's no way you don't draft Deion Sanders if you had an opportunity to. You just don't do that because of his ability to make plays on special teams and his ability to play cornerback at the highest level against the top guys. You know what I'm saying? He's playing against the top guys. So once you put that package together and you pose the question, is Deion the greatest cornerback of all time? In my opinion, yes. If we're thinking from a perspective of numbers, Super Bowl, which is the artifacts, and we're speaking from a position of cultural impact, ticket sales, you definitely got to have Deion there. Okay? He revolutionized the cornerback position from a social and culture standpoint on top of his performance and on top of getting it done. It's not like a guy who just got numbers with no rings. This ain't a guy who just got rings and he was just kind of a nickelback. This wasn't a quiet guy that just maybe got some rings and just, he was in a good system and he got some numbers, but himself, he ain't that guy, right? Like he didn't bring anything else to the table. And that's not to penalize anybody who don't bring anything for the table, because everybody's not a character, right? Deion was a character. Everybody's not going around with the Jerry curl and the chains and flashy like that. And I'm not penalizing anybody for that. I'm just saying he did that on top of the things that he should do. It's not like he's going around here like Ja Morant, with all this talent, playing with guns. This ain't Gilbert Arenas, right? With all this talent, playing with guns. This guy, Deion Sanders, was doing exactly what he's supposed to have done as a franchise type of cornerback. And anybody with any good logical strategic sense would place him on their team. Okay? Now, there are a couple of exceptions. And I'm going to wrap this and we're going to get on out the way. And we're going to wrap this up, right? Just getting you minutes. You do like 20 minutes and we get on out of here. I ain't going to hold you guys up. Just keeping it pushing a little bit. But just want to talk about the topic and dump some of these topics off that I've been seeing within sports culture and, politics and things like that, right? So, Deion Sanders, there's an exception to the rule where I would pick other cornerbacks over Deion Sanders. So, if I'm a GM and I'm a franchise owner, I pick Deion Sanders. Now, if I'm a head coach and I'm on a 3-year contract, coaches, their shelf life is not that long with a franchise as opposed to the owner. Is there guys who I would pick over Deion if I was building my team from a coach's perspective? Absolutely. The two cornerbacks that I would take over Deion in their primes, and it's assuming everybody's in their prime, okay? Not long run, not long term, not for the long haul, but just for the short term, best pound for pound, packed in cornerback for a 3-year coaching cycle as opposed to a GM longevity cycle. Again, if I'm a GM, I'm in the front office, my dad gives me a team, we taking Deion, okay? But if I'm a coach, I'm taking other cornerbacks over Deion Sanders. All right, so which cornerbacks would I take over Deion Sanders? And these cornerbacks, I feel like they open up the door to contest Deion and have a conversation about it. Still a big distance between them. And I'm gonna tell you straight off the top. First person I'm doing is I'm taking Darrell Revis. Okay. Um, if there's anybody that contests Deion on a coaching perspective, for as hey, we're taking out all of the extra stuff. We just talking about best cornerback I've ever seen play in a certain time span, 3 years, 2 years, single season. This guy has to be the greatest cornerback of all time. I'm going with Darrell Revis if I'm a coach on a 3-year contract. And I'm going with Champ Bailey. If I build a team, I'm a coach, and I had a choice, and I'm on a 3-year contract, 4-year contract, I would take Champ Bailey and Darrell Revis as my two cornerbacks over Deion. And just to expand on that a little bit, what my team would look like defensively if I'm a 3-year head coach and I got time and I got to get it now. You know how the NFL go. I would start with Champ Bailey and Darrell Revis would be my two cornerbacks. My two safeties would be Rod Woodson and Ed Reed. Okay, and I would in my mind in this pretend scenario, I would run a 5-2. I would have Junior Sal and I would have Ray Lewis as my two linebackers, and I have a 5-man front, and the two edge rushers would be Lawrence Taylor and Bruce Smith, and in the interior I would have actually Cameron Haywood, Aaron Donald, and I would have Warren Sapp. That would be a perfect defense for me, and I feel like I can cover everything that's ever played football with that defense. Deion, his one weakness is that he couldn't tackle. We all know that, and he preferred not to tackle. Not that he just physically couldn't do it, because he got over 700 some tackles. That's not bad, but you also got to consider he relied more on his coverage ability and you not throwing his side, which I think they should have challenge Deion more on that, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Especially with him not wanting to engage in tackling. If it were me, I would have broke Deion down. I would have kept challenging his side to mix him up with some runs and some heavy challenging type of plays. But that we passed that. That's neither here nor there. But Deion overall is the greatest of all time, especially long run, long term, for the long haul if I'm building a franchise. But if I am just coaching on a 3-year contract, then I'm taking Darrell Revis and Champ Bailey over Deion. And I also believe that Charles Woodson as a cornerback, his numbers, you go look at his numbers, he is someone that could challenge Deion GOAT status. Samuel, I get what Samuel trying to do. He do got 2 Super Bowls. He did show up and show out in the playoffs, which is awesome. But just comparable with Deion, Samuel has a point, but he don't have a point. He has a point, and I agree with him that Deion can be knocked off that spot. I don't think it's cemented in concrete that Deion can never be challenged and that, he'll never be moved off the spot and we'll never see a cornerback better than Deion. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the truth. But I do believe that Darrell Revis and Champ Bailey are better cornerbacks because of their tackling ability and their cover ability as well, too. They was a little bit more physical, a little bit more dynamic than Deion, okay? That's just my opinion and what I would do if I'm building a team from a coach's perspective. And who would I want to play with if I'm playing middle linebacker, if I'm playing DN, if I'm playing safety? I would prime for prime take Darrell Revis, Champ Bailey over Deion Sanders. That's what I would do. But if I'm building a franchise and daddy passed me the team and me and my brothers and sisters running the team, I got to pick Deion. So for a long haul, long situation, just to make sure we clear, Deion is the GOAT. The numbers, the accolades, the cultural impact, his lockdown ability on the field, you definitely gotta do it like that. You gotta go with Deion. That's why I'm going with Deion, and that's what I would do. Because Deion is the GOAT, right? All right. So another thing is, there's it's hard to go against Deion because you can't really find too many people that's better than Deion, right? All right. So I say this now. I got a little bit of time, and that's all I had for that topic for today, man. Just real quick, just to get out the way. We ain't gonna make these longs. I'll go ahead and tap into some of these comments. I see some of you guys in here. What up? I see all you guys out here. Yeet Master. I see you. AG. I see you, Scott Allen. Hyplo, what's up, man? Jacksonville Kid, I see you. Lost Art of Boxing, we definitely do boxing, of course. Don't get it twisted. We doing all sports. Jay Will, I see you got. Let me see, 94 Prime Smokes. Any cornerback you got? Uh, I think, yeah, I can accept that. I don't think nothing wrong with that. Except I think Darrell Reeves. We just clearly know he's had the greatest cornerback season ever. I mean, it ain't nothing that you could. It's no season that you could pull from Deion Sanders or any other cornerback that's better than Darrell Reeves. I think we all can agree with that, and I think that's just the numbers that say that. The lineup that Reeves had to go against, it was just crazy. It was stupid. Deion ain't never had a season like that. Puro, what's up? I see you, man. D-Lo 404, what's up, man? Jay Will, Samuel, Choke, okay. Okay, yeah, Samuel. I don't think Samuel. It ain't about Samuel. It's really because I don't think he comparable to Deion. I don't think nobody in their right mind is gonna say that that guy's better than Deion. But he sparked a conversation that does make sense. I mean, it's something to think about. But just literally that, just to think about, something to consider, something to push out and have a conversation with at the bar. And then maybe somebody else may bring a perspective that we haven't thought about because Darrell Reeves come up, and I know some people that Charles Woodson is another one that people will pick over Deion. You understand what I'm saying? All right. And Jay Will, you cap. I don't know if you said me, I'm cap, or you just saying you cap, or you saying somebody in the comment section is cap. I'm not sure what you're saying there. That's why you sitting here with us. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why I am sitting here with you. I'm retired. I supposed to be sitting. And if you're not retired, uh, you probably want to get off the internet and do what you're supposed to do on Sunday. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I got up this morning, I cleaned up, retired, I'm good to go. Um, I kind of do whatever I want to do. I'm retired. Fortunately for me. So I already did what I had to do with my career. So I'm sitting here because it's leisure. You know what I'm saying? Not because I'm incapable or anything like that, or because this is about Dion. That's not what it is. And then I want to tell you this right quick about me. Um, I don't believe in that you can't criticize athletes. I said this on my previous video. These guys are blessed to be in these positions. Most of us, I've played football with these guys who went pro. Okay, I played football alongside these guys. I've grew up with lot of these guys that are now rappers, that are now entertainers, that are now in sports. And it's not even that they're good, as opposed to a lot of other people in the neighborhoods. It's just that they have that blessing, and then they have that hand put on them where the coaches are taking care of them. They're in a good position. The home life is adequate for them to go pro and get it all the way up through college. And even in college, they take care of the pro players. That's just what it is. Rarely do most of them get a degree. Rarely do most of them finish their college education. They're there just to make money for the school. It's an investment. And if they're if they have the right attitude, then they're gonna always be blessed and put in that position. So yeah, that's why I'm sitting here with us. But my case is different. So like I said, I'm retired. I wake up to a great situation every day for myself. That's why I'm able to get on YouTube and converse with people and give my opinion and speak my piece. And largely, this ain't just for content creation. This is just me, an idea I got. I just want to record this so my children can always look back and see what my thought was on the political atmosphere, the social atmosphere, economics, sports, morale, and recreation. So that's what this is for. This is for me to leave something behind. I mean, if people like it, they like it. If they agree with me, they agree with me. But this is my thought process. So in case something ever happens, that's what this for. And plus, again, I have the leisure to do that. So this shit serves a different purpose for me as opposed to everybody else. So that's just my response to you, Jay Will. Other than that, man, that's all I got. Again, Deion Sanders is the GOAT. I don't know what the issue is there, but I do understand what Samuel is trying to say. Is there others? Yeah. If there's others, I would take Revis in his prime for prime, and I would take Champ Bailey. And I understand that there's others out there. But other than that, that's all I got for you, man. Your boy Zone 6. I'm out, man. Y'all have a good Sunday and do what y'all gotta do, man. See you at the next one.